Hi, Mrs. Caulfield. This is Hannah Rowles, and for my demonstration speech, I wanted to make snickerdoodle cookies. I've made them once before, and they are really delicious, so I wanted to make them again so I could eat something delicious and get my speech done at the same time. So the ingredients that you need to make snickerdoodle cookies, you need 1 cup of unsalted butter, which I have right here. I didn't have all unsalted butter, so I used a stick of salted butter. So I'm just going to take out some of the salt later in the recipe. You also need 1.5 cups of sugar. I'm using brown sugar just because we don't have any white sugar. You also need 2 large eggs, which I went ahead and cracked, and they are right here. You need 2 teaspoons of vanilla, which I have vanilla extract right there. You need 2 3/4 cups of flour, and I have this giant bag of flour right here that I'm using. You need 1.5 teaspoons of cream of tartar, where is that? Right here. Let's see, what else do you need? You need a half a teaspoon of baking soda, which I have right there. And then you need 1 teaspoon salt, which I'm going to be only using a half a teaspoon just because I put in a stick of unsalted butter. So that is for the cookies themselves. And then I'm going to put a cinnamon sugar mixture on top of them to kind of make them extra delicious. So for that you need 1/4 cup of sugar and 1.5 tablespoons of cinnamon. Okay, so let's get started. First it says to preheat the oven to 350 degrees, which I've already done. So if you hear any background noise, that is just the oven heating up. Then I need to, in a large mixing bowl, which I have here. Here's my large bowl. You have to cream the butter and the sugar for 4 to 5 minutes until light and fluffy. So by the way, this is supposed to be softened butter. I just slightly softened it so it should come out. Get out of there. Okay. And then we'll pour our first batch of sugar in there for the cookies. Okay, so I'm just gonna use an electric mixer for this. I'm gonna pause the video while I do it since you're kind of supposed to do it for a long time. And I'm looking at just being done just in 11 minutes. So I want to save as much time as I can. So I'm just going to pause the video while I go ahead and do this. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I'm back, and I mixed it for 4.5 minutes, and it should look kind of like this, have this really creamy texture. It tastes really good too, by the way, I tasted it. Okay, next, after you get this results of the mixing, you're going to scrape the sides with one of these or a spoon, whatever you have. And then you're going to add some more ingredients, which are you're going to add the eggs and the vanilla. And then you're going to cream for about 1.5 minutes longer. So I'm just going to take this off. Okay, then put this aside. And we're going to add the eggs. And then how much vanilla do we need? 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Okay. Trying to go around this butter on my finger right here. Okay. And there we go. Okay, and I'm just going to pause the video while I cream that for about 1.5 minutes longer, and then we'll move on from there. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I'm finished mixing in the eggs and vanilla, and as you can see, it still kind of has the same kind of creamy texture, but it's just a little thicker because we added the eggs. Okay, so now it says stir in the flour, cream of tartar, baking soda, and salt just until combined. So let's see how much flour we need. 2 3/4. That's a lot of flour. about 2 cups of flour. And then we need baking soda. We need a half a teaspoon of baking soda. That's over here. And then a half a teaspoon of salt. The recipe said 1 teaspoon of salt, but I'm just putting in a half a teaspoon because I used salted butter. Okay. And now we're just going to mix that in with my whisk until it is combined. So it looks like this is going to take a while, so I'll just go ahead and pause the video right here and show you the finished result in a minute. Okay, I'm back. So this is what the dough should look like when you're done mixing it. I ended up using a spoon instead of my whisk, just because the whisk would get full of all the dough would get inside of the whisk, and that was annoying. So the directions say that if time allows, wrap the dough and let it refrigerate for 20 to 30 minutes. I'm not going to do that just because I'm on a time limit. And then it says to roll up into balls until round and smooth. And this is where the cinnamon mixture comes in. So you're going to drop into this, you're going to mix the cinnamon and sugar together, and then you're going to drop the balls into that. So I'm going to go ahead and mix that together. I have a small red bowl here. So you just put the sugar in there. Brown sugar is a little harder just because it sticks to each other. So you just kind of break it up. And then you're going to get the cinnamon. I have this organic ground cinnamon. And you're going to take 1.5 tablespoons of cinnamon. I'm going to take the top of this thing. Okay. And then you're going to pour that in there and mix it all together. So let me go. Okay, there's my first tablespoon, and then do we have a half tablespoon in here? I think teaspoon. Hang on a minute. Okay, sorry about that. I just had to find a half tablespoon. So we're just gonna put the rest of our cinnamon in there. No. And then I'm gonna just use the half tablespoon to mix it around. Make sure there's no clumps of brown sugar or anything, and it's all mixed together and it's nice and powdery so it can coat the cookies well. Mix it up. Okay, so here's what it should look like. I got most of the clumps out in there, but again, that's mostly because it's brown sugar. It would probably do better with white sugar, but we didn't have any. So now I'm just gonna add my parchment paper lined baking sheet here, which I used 2 pages of parchment paper, which was a mistake. But we're just gonna make little balls, and then you're gonna kind of dough you're going to kind of just set them in there, and I just roll them around so they get completely coated with it. And then, let me move this aside so you can see what I mean with the pigment paper. Okay, so you're going to put them on there, like that. And then I'm going to just press them down. The last time we made them, they kind of poofed up when they cooked, so they weren't really flat like snickerdoodles are supposed to be. So I'm trying to amend my ways this time. So I'm just going to see what happens when we flatten them out like that. Okay, I'm just going to keep making the balls like that, and I will pause it because I'm almost, goodbye. Hang on, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I put 6 of the cookies on the sheet. There they are. And I'm going to go ahead and put them in the oven. The oven's already preheated. I have lots more dough, as you can see, but I'll do that when I'm not on video. And then I will pause the video, and then, because I'm getting near my time limit, over actually, and then I'll come back and just show you what the finished product looks like. Okay. So these are about to go in the oven, just so you know, and I will be back once they are cooked. Okay, I took the cookies out of the oven. I let them cook in there for about 11 minutes, and here's what they look like now. They aren't quite ready to eat yet because I haven't let them cool, but they're cooked, so look at them. I have to let them cool on the pan for a few minutes, and then I'll move them to a cooling rack, let them cool, and then they'll be ready to eat. So that's my demonstration speech. I really enjoyed making the cookies, and I'm really going to enjoy eating them. So, thank you for listening, Mrs. Caulfield, and I am sorry that I went over the time limit. I did my best, but I am happy with the result. There we go. Thank you. Goodbye.